music reading along with piano playing is neurologically significant for the well-being of an individual. Okay, to the point it translates into therapy. Why? Okay, now for that, what is the missing gap here? If that's the case, and if it is highly therapeutic, then why it hasn't been formalized as an official mode of therapy? Why? What is happening here? Okay, so let's have a brief history and understanding as to where did this all come from. Any language is both written and spoken. Okay, now don't debate this. Don't say that there is some language in the other end of the world which is not both written and spoken, it's only no, don't do that. Come on, you know what I mean. Any language is both written and spoken. Okay. The same applies with music as well. Now look at English. English is a 26 lettered language, and it can be written and spoken. Okay, so this English 26 lettered language, we can construct words become phrases, phrases become sentences become paragraphs, paragraphs becomes chapters becomes books. So likewise, the 7 lettered language of music undergoes a written evolution, an evolution, where from spoken it becomes written, and the credit goes to this gentleman Guido di Arezzo, a Gregorian monk, okay, who probably, on a funny note, got tired of all his students who were singing the wrong notes, and he decided and said, heck with this. I can't say heck with this. You guys are getting written notes, so that when you look at that notes, you will understand and thereby realize the pitch variation. Drum bum bum drum bum bum bum. Okay, you will understand that pitch variation, and you will know which note to sing next, instead of messing it up maybe in front of the the priest or the high priest or whomsoever it is. Now this happened in 11th century. Okay, then between 14th and 16th centuries, this 4-line system, or this proposition by Guido di Arezzo, undergoes an evolution, and it becomes a 5-line grand staff notations. Okay, so you have something called as the treble clef, also known as the G clef. We'll come back to it, but I'm associating it in this way. Okay, this is my proposition, that given a point, and that point is traveling in the higher frequency of music, or the higher pitch of music, and the bass clef is exactly the opposite, given a point and it travels in the lower frequency of music. And there are 5 lines shooting out from this. Exactly 5, not 6, not 4, not 7. It was 4, it became 5. Now, that happens between 14th and 16th centuries, and the theorists who were involved in order to do that, or to facilitate that, you can see the names of these gentlemen whose names I'm not able to pronounce properly. Franco of Cologne, Felipe de Vitry, Ars Nova, Giuseppe Zarlino. Okay, now, so far the understanding or the logic behind this proposition is like, why is there 5 lines? Is basically that the human eye can actually see 5 lines at one go. So that's the reason. Nobody came and said that this is the reason why we have evolved from 4 lines to 5 lines. None of these 5 gentlemen, Arezzo, Franco, Felipe, Ars Nova, Giuseppe, none of these people, I mean, obviously Arezzo de Guido is not there, but none of these other 4 people, these 4 theorists, none of them came publicly and said this is the reason why we are doing it. No, they did not. It was basic. We understood it that way. Okay. But here's my question. As a pianist, okay, there are 5 lines on the treble clef. There are 5 lines in the bass clef. In between you have a middle C. On top you have A5. On bottom you have E2 or E3, whatever. Given a point, how many lines is the eye scanning for notes for a pianist? For a trumpet, it is different. For a guitar, these are all monoclef, single clef instruments. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking specifically about the pianist who is reading music. Given a point, how many lines is this pianist reading? It's just not mere 5 lines that the eye is actually gauging. No, it's beyond that. So that is not the logic. Okay? If we do not have logical clarity, let's admit it, we do not have logical clarity. Cool. Okay, now, some people now will start commenting and thinking about this. Piano was not invented back then, it was only invented in 1700. Before the piano were these instruments, clavichord, harpsichord, where we had the 2 and 3 key pattern, black key pattern. See, piano is probably one of the only instruments in the world during its origins, at the time of its origins, to have a visually distinguished placed sharps and flats. For example, on a guitar, you do not have a visually distinguished idea about when you move from F to F sharp or E to F, F to F sharp, right? From a sharp you go, there's nothing that visually points out, gives you that clarity or that distinguish, or that difference or noticeable difference is not there. Now, for piano, it's not like that. For piano, it exposes itself very clearly. There's no gray here, baby. It's white and black. Okay. So, piano was known as the clavichord or the harpsichord way before that. So even that argument doesn't work. Okay. Piano was just existing in different names. Simple. Okay. Now, okay, my initial question is, why are there so many relevant, reasonable, scientifically viable, logically proving studies, longitudinal studies, meta-analysis, that piano playing and sight reading is actually good for the neurological well-being of the individual, literally pushing its borders into therapy. Okay. Why is that? And if you notice, I believe that there is a triangular love story that exists between the grand staff notations, the central nervous system of the human body, and the piano. Okay. My proposition in my previous videos also, you have seen this, that the grand staff notations, this is my scientific proposal. Okay. So far you've got historical data and zero logic. Okay. So far there is zero logic. The eye can read 5 lines, therefore we have it. No, that's not the case. Okay. It's beyond that. Okay. Now, this is my hypothesis. This is my proposal. I did not go back in time in 14th to 16th century and inquired with Franco, had a cup of tea with them. No. With Franco, Philippe, Giuseppe, Nova, whomsoever these people are, I did not speak with them, and they did not tell me, you see this, it's a contralateral control of the brain. Right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. Left side of the brain controls the right side of the body, neurologically speaking. It enables the motor movements. That's how it functions, etc. No, they did not tell me this. Okay. This is my hypothesis. This is me filling the gap, this question as to why this piano reading and sight reading, piano playing and sight reading is neurologically significant, pushing its borders into therapy. Okay. All right. So this is my proposal. Okay. So if this is the case, when we investigate or when we include this hypothesis into the grand observations or the meta-analysis or the longitudinal studies that we are doing, if we are able to include this key point that I'm proposing, it will even make further sense. Okay. And that is what I've been trying to say, and my belief or my hypothesis is this: if and when we are able to integrate and understand a fourth quadrant in this as well, not quadrant, a fourth person here, the fourth person, no, or in movies, the fourth wall, no. So the grand staff notations, piano, central nervous system, therapy. These four, if we take it as these four as one part, and if we start executing music studies, we have we should be creating well-balanced children, adults in the society. Okay. And based on this, we are creating, and we'll be putting it out in the website very soon, themusicneuroscientist.org. We'll be putting it there. as to something called as music theory based neuroprofiling. What is music theory based neuroprofiling? The understanding that the grand staff notations is actually constructed based on the central nervous system of the human body. It is mimicking the contralateral control of the brain. Therefore, using that, can I understand the learning subtype of an individual? What is the learning subtype of an individual? Not all people love to read. Some just love to listen. Priority readers. Not everybody loves to listen. They just don't want to listen to anybody, other voices. They just want to read a book. Priority readers. So you have priority readers, you have priority listeners. Subconscious coordinates. Why do I call them subconscious coordinates? Because they are not yet conscious. That's why. Those who have the capacity of putting together a beautiful team, regardless of whether they are very good readers or listeners. And those who struggle with behavioral arrhythmia, or who have a well-disciplined life. By that I mean those people who can study just one day before the exam, for not just because they knew the subject, but because they could grasp the subject in a very short period of time. But against those who want to who need a disciplined life, they have to study in the evening, they have to revise in the morning, and they have to keep revising everything. So yeah, how people learn is different. And once we understand why are people not able to learn, or why people learn, we will be able to solve this. If you see here, this is statistics from the year 2022. Okay. Now, since the year 2022, so much of drama has happened in the lives of kids and adults. Okay. Kids are being tagged as underperformers by institutions. Shamefully speaking, those institutions are earning their bread and butter by tagging these children as underperformers. I'm sorry, I'm being blunt here. I'm being rude here. That's how they're eating food. Is that how our system has collapsed into? Now, I just want to ask you a simple question. Now, everybody knows that Toyota is a great brand. Okay. Now, let's assume Toyota made 100 cars. Okay. Out of 100 cars, 80 cars have defects. For sure, you're proving it. There are defects in it. 20 cars, okay. They're okay. They're good enough. 5 cars are awesome. Okay. Will you rely on Toyota or any other brand? I'm just giving an example of Toyota. Toyota is a great brand. I would always buy a Toyota. My mom loves Toyota. My dad loves Toyota. Okay, cool. I'm just giving you an example. But then we have an education system which produces 80% failures every single year. 15% are okay. 5% are the celebrated ones. I believe that it's because we didn't know how to teach. We did not know how to teach students properly, and that's the truth. And I'm trying this is my contribution to the society. I want to see what can I do in order to find out what's the best learning way. Now, in our school, Besser Academy School, you know what? I'm very happy to say this. We have 85% success rate. Those 15% probably are small children. Probably I didn't know how to approach them. You know what? I have no shame in admitting that. The way I teach music is completely different. My students do not know what a semi-breve is, what a minim is, what a dotted minim is, what a dotted crotchet is, what a quaver is. They don't know. But when you hand over a sheet music to them, they know how to play it. I don't buy a car so that I can know the ins and outs, everything about the car. No, I don't need to. I just need to know how to drive the car, and that's all that I need to know, and that's all that I taught them. And that's why you can have an 85% success rate too in your schools or music schools. We just need to figure out what's the basic necessity. Cut away every other bullshit and kids will outperform you. And teach them One small step at a time. One small step at a time. Everything is negotiable. For example, if the fingering is wrong, it is wrong. You try to correct them once or twice. The third time, if they're not able to do it, it's okay, man. It's their physiology. Let them figure it out. It'll come. Not everything needs to be 100% perfect. It can evolve into something beautiful, far better than perfect. Right? Okay, so coming back. This video was about what is the missing gap for scientific studies which are talking about the importance of sight reading and piano playing to the effect it becomes therapy. And therefore, I believe if you want to translate it as medicine, I have a scientific hypothesis or a proposal for you. Okay, that was this video about. I hope I have covered sufficient ground on this. So let me summarize quickly. Music becomes a written language, 11th century, by Gregorian monk Guido di Arezzo. It is first presented as 4 lines with dots to represent the variation in the pitch. This method from 11th century, between 14th and 16th century, by these gentlemen, you can actually see the slide. Franco, Felipe, Ars Nova, Giosophipe, I'm really sorry, I don't know how to pronounce their names, perfected what we now know as the grand staff notations. The grand staff notations, it is 5 lines, not 4, like Guido proposed. 5 lines from treble clef. Treble clef means given a point and it is traveling in the higher frequency of music. Okay, I want to say something about this. Now, if you take your thumb finger, okay, if you take your thumb finger and if you place it on the middle C of the piano, okay, both right hand and left hand, first finger, thumb finger, okay, your little finger for the right hand lands on G4. For the keyboardists, children or students who are looking at their keyboard, 5-octave keyboard, please note for you it is going to be G3. Okay, middle C is nothing but C3 for you for a keyboard, 5-octave keyboard. For a 7-octave full-size piano, it's going to be a C4. You take your thumb finger, your little finger lands on the G4. You take your thumb finger, your little finger of the left hand lands on F3. Okay, for the piano. Okay, and G3 and F2 for the keyboard, 5-octave keyboard. Okay, G clef, F clef. No, don't tell me piano was not invented by that. No, before piano there were other instruments which had 2 and three black keys. Okay, think they constructed it brilliantly. It's not 3 black keys and 3 black keys. Okay, it is 2 black keys and 3 black keys. The moment even a blind man sits in front of a piano, all that the blind man needs to do is sense with his hands the 2 black keys and he comes across the universal first key, which is C. Okay, and to the deaf man who can read music, who's got his eyes, after the 2 black keys comes E. And when you cross your hands, okay, when you align both, you take your hands, 5 fingers, 4 spaces, right? 5 lines and 4 spaces, treble clef, bass clef, right hand, left hand. Cross both of them. Don't keep them normally, but cross them. You get a perfect sequence. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Perfect sequence. It doesn't happen when you keep your hands normally. Why? Because the central nerve, it is mimicking the contralateral control of the brain. Right side controls the left, left side controls the right. So, if you take this scientific hypothesis or proposition, if it is mimicking the contralateral control of the brain, therefore, I'm creating a psychometric test. Music theory based neuroprofiling. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do, which will help me to see to that a corporate does not hire a person for the wrong reason and fire a person for the wrong reason. A corporate should know, Okay, this is our learning style and this is our learning methodology. Does this guy fit in? Yes, if it fits in, please take him. If it not, hey, our learning approach or our teaching approach is different. This same way, if when this is applied in schools, it will be so beautiful to understand why this student was not able to understand this particular subject. Maybe he's a priority listener and he's not a priority reader. Maybe he's a priority reader and he needs more material, some more colors to add to it. And of course, there are so many other variables into it. So, yeah, so it's the end of this video. I know it's a long 25-minute video. I thought I'd make a 3-minute video or something. But connect with me if you are interested in this research. And if you want to take things forward, if this excites you, just drop me a message, mail. This is my email. Just drop me a mail and we can take things forward. All right. Cheers.